Hey, welcome back to Three Ball Walk, Session 2. The trade deadline either happened yesterday or if Eddie got this up a little earlier, it's about to happen. And that's what we were talking about. And what I really want to touch on right now is the balance in Major League Baseball. And you look at, I mean, the Nationals are playing really well, the Giants in the National League and whatever, but none of them have more than a 5-game lead.
Nope.
I mean, with the exception. So not only are teams still in the division, but then the middle teams that were always who's the sellers and who's the buyers, there's no telling because there's only a few teams that are out of it.
Atlanta.
Hey, welcome to the Braves.
So,
hey, the Braves and the Twins had the who sucks worse game last night. It was the Twins. The Braves won.
So
the Braves suck less.
You know, but my point being, the Yankees, you know, and we were just talking about that in the break. The Yankees are a seller because they got rid of Aroldis Chapman.
But they're 4 games,
and they're only 4 games out
of the wild card.
Of the wild card of the second place in the wild card. But going back to what we were talking about, the trade being beneficial for both teams. I watched the Marlins pick up Fernando Rodney, who was saving every game for the Padres, and I've seen him pitch about 6 or 7 games for the Marlins, and he's probably blown the save in about 5 of them. And you take a closer like Aroldis Chapman or Andrew Miller, and you move him to a setup role. What are you doing? Because the pressure's not there, and you're not getting the guy for what he's worth. So basically, the Yankees were paying Andrew Miller all this money to not close games anymore. So that trade, in reality, yes, it's great to have a stud there in the 8th inning, but I don't think you're getting the stud of Andrew Miller or the stud of Fernando Rodney in the 8th inning that you're getting in the 9th. So having 2 closers is not a commodity.
You know, well, it is a commodity in the sense that you can trade that commodity.
There you have it.
For something else.
And the point being, the reason I brought that up, have the Yankees shown that they are sellers?
Not yet.
Not yet.
That's my point. By getting rid of Chapman does not mean they're a seller.
So does that mean that the Yankee, in your opinion, does that mean the Yankees think that Andrew Miller is as good a closer as Chapman?
He led the American League in saves last year. They're paying him a lot of money.
That wasn't what I asked.
He can't throw 105, but
can he close games?
Sure he can.
So if you think that guy is as good as the guy that you're paying, what happened then was everybody else in the league just got snookered.
Well, they dumped a lot of salary, and now they can actually add a piece to help the team because they now have some salary space.
Everybody else in the league just went for card. If you're going to New York and you're playing the card game under the cups, they all just got shuffled because
they thought they were a seller.
They thought that they were a seller, and they wanted to pick up this piece over here. But what the Yankees were saying is, we don't really want this piece. We want to keep
we don't
this
need
piece.
This piece.
No, I think they're saying we don't want that piece because if they had wanted that piece, they would have gotten rid of Miller instead. They would have shot Miller. They could have shot both of them around and whichever one they got the best deal for.
Which could have been exactly what happened.
And what will be interesting in the next 5 days or whenever you watch this is, based upon how they play, do they move Miller? You know, as it gets closer to Monday, do they move Miller?
Yeah, if they move Miller, they're definitely a seller. Because then you're just saying the back end of our lineup is gone. We don't care.
Correct. And then the other interesting part is who's winning that division? The Orioles?
Toronto, right?
Toronto. And then Boston.
No, Toronto's in front of the wild card.
Okay. My bad.
So then the Orioles, the Orioles. The Orioles are winning it. Yeah. Toronto and Boston are the 2 wild cards, and the Yankees are right. I mean, that division, with the exception of Tampa Bay, and
Toronto just tried. Well, I don't know if they upgraded, but they picked up Melvin, who used to be B.J. Upton. I guess he changed his name for
political correctness
reasons. I don't know, but anyway, they picked him up. So they've made at least one move. I mean, what do you see? You know, I originally I didn't like the wild card. But now I got to tell you, it makes it more interesting to watch.
Well, but and I don't know exactly who the American League, and you covered a little this on last week, who the American League East is getting to play this year. But if you're going to do the wild cards, if you're going to have 2 wild cards, if you're going to have a wild card period, you need to balance the schedule. Everyone needs to play the same teams the same amount of times because it is unfair to teams in the Central and the West that the teams in the East are getting easier games this year. And I don't want to say that's the case or whatever, but when you look at it at the end of the day.
So you think that the American League East is getting easier games?
They've got the top 3.
Could it be that they're just the better teams? And so that when they're playing everybody else outside and they're playing the Central and they're playing the West, they're beating up on the Central and the West?
That's not a.
Well, that's not a. Yeah,
and you don't know, but I'm just saying it's when you look at the schedule at the end of the year, and this team got to play the Marlins. Okay, the Marlins are right there, number 2 in the wild card. Guess what? They got to play the Rays 6 times, and they beat them 5 out of 6. They beat them 2 out of 3, and
but conversely, though, they play the Braves.
But the whole point is
they play the Braves 18 times
and lose 9.
And lose 9. I mean,
they give them all scholarships.
Yeah.
Well, they do, and the fact that somehow the Braves figure a way out to beat the Marlins. Which is amazing that the Braves can beat anybody.
But the point is, it's the unbalanced schedule with that.
Yeah,
but except for that, the wild cards added. Look at how many teams are.
Well, you look even look in the National League in Philadelphia. Philadelphia is only 6 games out of the second wild card.
240 as a team.
Yeah.
They have no offense.
You get on a run. Pittsburgh is 2.5 out of there. St. Louis is 1 out. Which is kind of funny that St. Louis is on the outside looking. My boy Alex Patola is really upset because he always thinks they got to be. He writes in that he's going to make a trip out there for the postseason. Alex might get to save a little money this year. No, I think they'll make it. I think they'll overtake.
The Cardinals are always in it.
I think they'll overtake
the Marlins.
The Marlins are one of those 2 teams. I think the Marlins and the Dodgers. One of those 2 teams is going to falter down the stretch.
For the Dodgers to stick with it, number one. The Giants aren't going to stay on a 1-8 after the All-Star game pace.
No.
The Dodgers aren't going to stay on a 16-8 pace without Kershaw. And what?
Maybe. I mean, again, is it the fact that now they're in the division and the West besides
it's a bad division.
Is a bad division besides the Dodgers and the Giants, and so every time they play everybody else, they're just beating up on them. And then it's going to come down to who can win the head-to-head series between the 2 of them.
Yeah. I mean, I think the Dodgers. What move do they make? As of today, I have not kept up on Kershaw like I should have. He was supposed to pitch a simulated game. I don't know if he did.
Last week, and then afterwards he had a setback. And the latest word is he might have surgery.
Which is just a cover for we want to keep our fans thinking that we have a chance in the postseason.
He's done. Right.
Having dealt with people in my life who have back issues, if he's got a back issue so bad that he's got to have an injection in that and they're talking surgery, I don't know how you pitch with that this year. I mean, I think you have to shut it down for several months just to let the back kind of calm down a little bit to see if you're going to need surgery. And then at that point, your arm's going to be out of shape. So you got to rehab your arm, and then you end up, if you rush back, you end up hurting your arm because your arm is lagging behind the rest of you. If I'm the Dodgers, I'm not risking Kershaw for this 1 year when it's an even year anyway, and we all know that the Giants win the World Series in even years. So I don't even know why anybody else is competing. Just go ahead and stop the season now, save all the hot dogs and the Cokes, and give them away to everybody, and just call it a day.
They did that once.
They did.
And with the exception of Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire, which baseball got criticized and critiqued for immensely, that was the only thing that brought him back.
Absolutely.
And then what brought him back, they criticized and critique and tried to drive out of baseball, which kind of did him in because of that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. The home run race. I mean,
after they stopped the baseball season, that was the only thing that brought baseball back.
It is. I mean, it is, and it's still the case. We definitely don't want to see a stoppage in play, but you might as well just bring up all your AAA and AA guys for the rest of the teams because the Giants are going to win it all. I mean, it's just going to happen. Even though I said the Cubs are going to win it.
The Cubs are going to win it.
I'll tell you, who was it last night?
I'm still with the Cubs.
Matt Cain. Did you see him last night?
No.
Crushed the ball, probably about 400 and some odd feet. Okay, hits a home run, and the little graphic. San Francisco Giant pitchers in the last 2 seasons, 12 home runs. No other team has more than 5.
Heck, I think the Braves
those guys can hit.
Baumgartner.
If you're going to play in the National League and you can find pitchers who can hit, That's an advantage.
Well, I saw you were watching the game because we were talking on the phone. Mm-hmm. The Marlins, for the second time this year, with the intentions of taking Jose Fernandez out the following inning, they let him bat for himself, and then they brought in a relief pitcher.
Yeah.
That says something about who's on your bench.
Well, he's hitting 261.
I know, but that says something about who's on your bench.
Or that says something about the fact that he knows he's going to be making so many pitching changes he doesn't. Well, he's got Ichiro on that bench from the left side. It's the fact that Jose Fernandez can hit, some of these guys can hit, and and we're gonna let him hit. No, and it's interesting because today, and I don't know how the game ended up, but the Marlins were beating the Phillies 8-0 in an afternoon game.
Well, they probably should have won that one, but you never know.
They should, but I'm saying the starting pitcher, Conley, has already been lifted and everything like that, and I was watching, and I think I passed it on to you. Mm-hmm. The Marlins have not had a complete game since 2013, and it is the second longest streak in the history of Major League Baseball to go without a complete game in your pitching staff. The 2014-15, that's 320, and this year's another 400. 400 and some odd games without a complete game.
So clearly that is a management decision. But they have different managers.
Different managers.
That's what because I'm always mad at Mattingly when Jose's got the one hitter going through 8.
Yeah.
And they pulls him when Jose's never had a.
All right, so okay, you're front office guy, you're always a fan of the front office. Is that a reflection of perhaps contractual things where there are bonuses if guys pitch so many innings, if guys get, that's going to look good. If guys,
it's not an earthquake here.
It's not an earthquake. We were good. It's not even a missile test off the coast of Florida.
Stretching the legs.
As does happen from time to time. Apparently, allegedly so, the U.S. Navy set off a bomb that caused an earthquake. Anyway, so is that a part of the contracts? And so the front office is telling the manager, look, we don't want this many innings? Or is it the fact they're trying to save their arms? And so
a lot of young pitchers.
So are we trying to save them from doing it? I mean, I can't imagine Dizzy Dean going in the clubhouse the next day after coming out in the 8th inning with a one-hitter and going into the manager going, Skip, hey, I really appreciate you saving my arm.
Yeah, it's a different era, number one, but it's frustrating sometimes because these guys, you can see they want to stay in.
If you're in the 8th inning with one hitter, heck yeah, or you got a no-hitter, who wants to come out of that?
Conley had a no-hitter through 7 and got pulled about a month ago.
Yep. See, I mean, if that's the case, I think I'm going into Mattingly's office after the game and I'm saying, look, I don't care. I want the next time I got a no-hitter through 7, you come out to me, I'm not giving you the ball. And you can pry it from my cold dead fingers on top of the rubber, but I'm not. You're going to be embarrassed if you walk out here again, because when you walk out, I'm going to turn and walk to my second baseman, and we're going to have a conversation.
And cut his uniform?
No, I'm going to ignore you until you go back to the dugout. And I'm not giving up the baseball, and so that's just going to happen. So you can know that if that happens, it's on you. But we're going to have a fit right there on the mound if it happens again. We're having it in the office today, but if you do that again, we're having it on the mound.
And do you think, I mean, we talk about the saving people's arms. I mean, the way the game has changed, there was talk a few weeks ago about baseball trying to augment, you can only use so many pitchers during the game. It's ridiculous. It's like, but the game has changed, whereas I read an article not too long ago about Sandy Koufax. In a spring training game, he pitched 9 innings. A spring training game.
The commissioner today was talking, because they did ask him about that, about shortening, the time. They're so concerned about the time. The time of the game.
Please. Leave the game alone.
Thank you.
But that, and here's my thing always, is what you're doing is you're trying to appease the non-baseball fans.
Exactly
right. But they're not going to watch
it. And what happened, they're going to peak and go, but you're losing the core of the real, true baseball fans is what you're doing. But what they're looking at is when a relief pitcher comes in, making him pitch a minimum of 2 batters. So you can't have, boom, one guy make the pitch
lefty righty, but that's why some guys.
But if that's the matchup, that's the matchup.
That's the matchup. Exactly.
Get the guys to not walk around the mound for 30 minutes. That kind of stuff is fine.
Well, then also if that's going to be the case, then don't allow the opposing. You can't allow the opposing manager to make a pinch hitter then. because you got to send up your guy. So that to me is ridiculous to even think about making that move. I mean, if you do that, I'll stop watching baseball, and we'll start talking about tiddlywinks or something.
Well, the time went, this second session, it went so quick. One of the things I want to remind you of, we've had a couple responses, I believe, to the when is Ichiro going to get his 3,000th hit. He hasn't done it yet. You can still get on at 3-Ball Walk on Facebook or whatever.
Hey, did you notice that I got it in there?
Right, perfect.
I got it in there. I got it in there.
Go to 3-Ball Walk. The address is right there. And give us a guess on when he's going to do it.
When we cut it off, what day do you want to cut it off on? Because we need to...
We'll cut it off when he gets his 3,000th hit.
Somebody might get it the next day.
Exactly, that's the whole thing.
And by Wednesday...
No, by Wednesday.
You got to have three days advance.
He's going to do it this weekend.
Okay, well then you better put it on the first segment.
They were actually saying they go on the road after the weekend. They've got 4 games at home now with the Cardinals.
So they're going to have him at bat. They want to get it.
And then he's going on the road, and they want to do it at home.
By Sunday. I don't blame him. All right, well, let's see if he gets it by this weekend. You guys have a great weekend. If we don't get it posted to Monday or Tuesday, I'm sorry, but sometimes you got to go on the road to work. See you later. Play ball. Have a great week.